Hey, Lee.
What's up, Patsy?
How we doing this? Well, I was going to say this morning.
I was just reading, somebody sent me a QAnon um, article, and it's actually, it makes sense because these evangelical preachers are preaching it as gospel and the Great Awakening in their churches.
I'm almost afraid to ask.
Yeah, the article's actually, it's on CNN. It actually is where it's at, he sent me.
On CNN?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm getting a bit of an echo.
Here, let me, am I echoing?
No. I hear me, though.
No.
What was the QAnon thing?
Hey, I just sent you, like, it's kind of a longer read, but it's basically, they see it as a source of behind the scenes information.
Oh, my God.
It echoes the concerns of the politically engaged, ultra-conservative evangelical. Interprets world events through the lens of scripture or Q-post. Obsessed with a grand apocalyptic reckoning that will separate good from evil. Deeply distrusts the media and finds an unlikely champion and hero in President Trump. What else? The fucking Antichrist. He's the hero.
During the pandemic, QAnon-related content has exploded online, growing nearly 175% on Facebook and nearly 63% on Twitter. People love a good conspiracy.
Yeah, basically, this guy said, if you read further down, it's a recruiting tactic for these people. I mean, did you see where there was a postal worker that was arrested with trashing ballots, and I believe it was in Pittsburgh, not taking them to where they should have been going, like in a Democratic neighborhood?
Yeah.
He was a QAnon follower.
Some followers see QAnon messages as sacred texts.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and actually, if you ever read about these evangelicals born again, they were basically thrown out of the Protestant church in the 1800s because the Protestant leaders said it's bullshit. And that's kind of where it developed from.
So you even had those guys saying it was bullshit.
Yeah, almost 200 years ago. It's in 1840s. And it sprouted into evangelicals and guess what else?
Go ahead.
Seventh-day Adventists. Who comes to your door and knocks on it?
I
can't. My neighbor was one.
Mormon? No, not the Mormons.
No, it wasn't Mormons.
Yeah, they go to Temple on 18 on your way to Hermitage.
Yeah.
Oh, this is killing me.
Why can't I think of it?
Oh, because. Same reason I can't, Lou Roland.
No, I think it's just too much information. Jehovah's Witnesses.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, my neighbor was one, but he never ever said anything to me. And they'd go out like to other neighborhoods, but he would never come around this. He would never go in this neighborhood.
Think you knew better.
Yeah, the funniest thing was we had a Jehovah's Witness came to my, I'm outside working on something, and it was one of them that, wasn't going right. Nothing would go back together. I broke a bolt, so I'm pretty hot under the collar. Jehovah's Witness, they see you have time. I'm laying on my back in the driveway, grease all over me. I says, it look like I have time. I said, you know what? The neighbor has time for you, though. He likes that stuff. I sent him over to Randy Crum. Once Randy started talking, he was chasing him down the driveway. They were running away.
I had one come back here. This was years ago. Right? I mean, you really have to be, you got to be on a mission to come back here, right?
Yeah, really.
I mean, there's some commitment there. I got to give him credit. And he comes up and he's knocking on the door, and my wife looks out the window by the door, and she said, and all she said was, "You got to be shitting me." Right? So I'm right away, my ears perk up. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? So I look, and here they are, in their suit, right? With the tie and the whole 9 yards. And Rock was in the house, my GSD. And I answer the door, and I'm holding him. And the guy looks at me, and he looks down at Rock, because you've come over to the house. He even knows you, and he's loud as hell, right?
Yep.
And the guy looks at me, and he goes, "Does he bite?" And I said, "Only if I tell him to. What the hell do you want?" He's like, "Do you have time?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Okay, have a nice day." I'm like, "Yeah, you too. Bye." Well, he comes in handy every now and then.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about Amy Coney Barrett yesterday?
We talked for a little bit about it. Frank had to bail early. He had a client calling him about 6.
Okay, I didn't know what you guys talked about. I actually didn't get back home till 6:15.
That's about the time I killed it.
Okay.
I hung out for about 15 minutes after, and I was like, well, you know what? Let's put an end to this. I just kind of ramble on without any direction, and I was like, you know what? Let's just forget about this. You have any opinions about that before we get moving?
The only thing I'd like to say, and I'm sure Frank and you probably thought the same thing, she's told me more about her character and what she will do by not answering questions than actually answering them. And if you saw the little clip on, I don't know if it was Chris Hayes the other night or Rachel, her and Kavanaugh and Roberts were all in on that Bush v. Gore case.
Oh, were they really?
Yes, they were. All three of them in that Bush v. Gore case. And she actually was able to salvage 637 Republican votes that had been tossed, and the difference was 520.
Well, she's good at what she does.
And it all had to do with sorting and putting things together. Frank would understand more of that. But yeah, so, her evading and what she's doing and not answering. I mean, to me, asking about a peaceful transition to power and she didn't answer that question, what's that tell you about her?
The only thing that really bothered me was, I mean, I understand how big it is to be on the Supreme Court. I mean, all right, I don't actually understand it, but I understand it's huge, right? If the dynamic happens the way it happened, and somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, we're going to nominate you for this," do you not have enough? I don't even want to say self-pride or whatever it is to sit there and say, "I just refuse to be a pawn," because what's his name? That's on there, Clarence Thomas. His name is still mud. He still looked at, and this is how many years later, and people still have no respect for him at all. Is that position worth that much to you that you're willing to sacrifice your name and your dignity
You know what? I swear that brand of conservative, extreme right wing, I'm not saying Republicans in general, because I will not, because I know a lot of good Republicans. I might disagree with them, but, I respect their point of view. These are extreme right wing, and anything they do, the ends justifies the means. They have no shame, and they'll sell their dignity for a nickel.
I mean,
That's the way they look. And you or I would never do that.
no.
Would walk first, not them.
And I didn't hear one person ask her, even on the Democrat side. I didn't hear one person ask her. Whenever you were approached with this, did you tell the president, "Hey, maybe it would be better if we waited till after the election"?
Did you happen to see?
No one asked her that.
No. Did you happen to see Sheldon Whitehouse's opinion that was published in? Wasn't real long. Actually, this was published on the NBC News page. You have a chance, read it later. Very good. His views on this and the end game of corporations and how they did it, and he brought it out during the hearings. He called them right out on it.
Yeah, I don't know what he said, and I didn't see his quote, but I know there were a few MAGAs that were kind of pissed off about what he said. But I didn't see what it was. But a few of the MAGAs that I work with, they were all pretty upset at him.
Well, he pretty much called her out for what she is in a nice way, but he told it like it is. And actually, he bases it going back into, and I can, you know what, in these dates I was around and kind of a little older than you, remember some of this where the unions were strong. The American people were getting better health care for less money, and because of regulations, the workers were strong, and this pissed the corporations off. And their long-run end game has been to take hold of the judiciary from back in the 70s.
So they've been playing this game for this.
They've been playing this game for the last 40 years. And that's what his opinion piece is about. He says, this is what the end game is. And you know what? He's right, because they don't want worker protection. They don't want good wages. They don't want nationalized health care. They don't want anything, and you got all these dumbasses. Have you seen the signs? I see them more in Ohio than here. Say no to socialism, vote Republican.
Yeah.
I'll bet one of those MAGAs that has a sign up, if I walked up to the door and said, give me a definition of socialism, they probably couldn't even give it to me.
No chance.
And if I asked them to hand over their Social Security card, Medicare card, and their pension, they'd look at me like I was a dragon with two heads.
Yep. Because it's okay for me to have it. Right? It all goes back to that same argument that I've been making from day one. I don't want you to have what I have. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's all of it too. You're exactly right.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
I do not want you to have what I have.
Yeah, he takes it. It was back to he called it back in the 70s, and he's right. Man, you think about the 70s and the buying power the regular American had. I mean, truthfully, I was thinking, and you wonder why then these same people complain millennials aren't buying and purchasing like their parents did. Well, you took away their buying power. You saddled them with debt. What do you think's going to happen to millennials and Generation X? I mean, you had regular, and you think about it, there were jobs, and they have people trained, like Rockwell when it was in town, 2 Rockwell plants. Well, the disability put them out. And I always say, no, it didn't. It was corporate greed. They were making money. They just weren't satisfied with what they were making. They sent those jobs overseas, and now you're complaining that, there's no money in this town.
Yeah.
You know, you think about the jobs that were in this town in the 70s and early 80s. I could think of 5 plants back then that were paying, taking the 70s, $6, $7, $8 an hour. You know what? That was nice middle class income then.
Yeah.
If you made 30 grand in 1978, you made some cash.
Yeah, you did.
You know what? Because I bought a brand new Ford pickup for $5,200 out the door in 1980. Have my wages gone up 10 times since then?
No.
No. I made 20 grand in 1981.
Wow.
Okay. And we lived off my wife's income, and I put every cent of that in the bank as a down payment on this house for 2 years, or a year and a half, 2 years.
Wow. No way in hell anybody can do that now. No way in hell. No.
No. You have to consider then minimum wage was enough to pay for Harvard Law School in the 70s and early 80s. Full-time minimum wage, think about that. Paid for Harvard and Yale and some living expenses for a student.
Minimum wage. That's whenever minimum wage was actually a minimum wage.
Well, the minimum wage,
the living wage.
I'll tell you what the minimum wage was in 78, 79. It was about $2.75 an hour.
Okay.
Okay, now think about that number, and it paid for college.
So what, you're looking at gas at like a quarter a gallon or something like that?
No, it was around, gas was probably 55, 60 cents about then.
All right.
But a loaf of bread was probably 50 cents. Okay. Gallon of milk was probably, I don't know, $2.
I can remember living up on the North Hill and walking from Fairmont Avenue down by the ball field up to TikTok. Okay, you know where my parents live.
Yeah.
Up to TikTok. And getting a gallon of milk for, I want to say, $2.10. Now, this had to have been 83, 84, right? And my parents give me a hard time because they'd give me a 5 and I wouldn't give them change. But yeah, I mean, everything was I don't want to say cheap. I hate to say the word cheap, but
it wasn't out of line.
No, you were able to live and still be able to pay an expense if something broke.
I was laughing the other night. I used to play CYO basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like 74, 75. After the CYO game, we go to PO lunch.
Yeah.
3 hot dogs, Pepsi, and tip, $1.25.
Whenever I met my wife, so this was, I met her in 86. Okay. She had graduated out here. She'd have graduated Mohawk 2 years before I did. So she graduated in 84. Okay. Her senior year, her and a bunch of her friends would go down and down to the Civic Arena and watch the Penguin games. Go to the Penguin games on Friday night or Saturday night. She'd go down there with a $10 bill and come home with change. And still had to buy a ticket.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Yeah.
I remember it was in 83, the year Lemieux got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
We got, I had coupons. Remember the big, thick coupon books?
Yeah.
It was buy one.
It was stapled on one end.
Yeah. It was buy one Penguin ticket, get one free in this book. So I bought 2 center ice tickets for, I think they were $25. That was for 2 tickets. And that was center ice B level.
Wow. That was before the second balcony, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we were there, there was only maybe 6,000 people at the game. We're sitting there. The usher looked at it. He said, if you want to move down, go ahead. We moved down to the A level.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember Pirate games at Three Rivers, dollar nights?
Yeah.
Dollar ticket, dollar hot dog. It was a dollar beer, but I was too young to drink legally at the time. Right? I think it was a dollar ticket, a dollar hot dog, a dollar beer, and a dollar parking. That's what I want to say it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had some pretty good teams back then too.
Yes, they did. You saw Dave Parker play. Al Oliver.
Yeah. Yeah, for $1. Yeah, I remembered it. I know those were sometimes they were weekday. A lot of them were weekday games, but every now and then you'd catch a weekend game against, Milwaukee or somebody that, you didn't give a shit about. But still, it was for $1. For a $5 bill, you got a professional baseball game, and a fifth of that was going to parking. That's a pretty good deal. So it wasn't all that long ago, because even I remember those things.
Yeah, and you wonder what happened to the spending power, and that's what takes you to that Sheldon Whitehouse article, and it was basically who led that charge? Big Tobacco, Koch brothers, U.S. Chamber of Commerce through them for him giving them money.
Wow,
that's basically where that started back then.
Well,
you're at the precipice of having to do something if the Democrats take all 3 houses.
Well,
do you see any Republicans voting no?
No. No, not one.
They're the ones that are going to lose anyhow, so they're going to go out voting yes.
Yeah, the idea of them
growing a spine.
Yeah, and like voting their conscience or whatever. No, you give these people far too much credit whenever you do that shit. I'm not one to source, extreme sides, but I did want to show you this. Speaking of the Senate, now granted it is the Daily Kos, however the hell you say it, but their sources are legit sources, right? They just kind of hype it a little bit. Okay, I mean that's all the hype you need right there, right? We need 4, right? But you look at their numbers. And I'm pretty sure one of their sources is 538, so I got some trust in them. Susan Collins is toasted, okay? Right? I mean, it's 47-40 now, and it's just going to get worse after this hearing, okay? Because you know how she put herself in a bind. If she votes against it, against the nomination, then what Republican support she has left is gone. And if she votes for it, well, it's just another nail in the coffin for her, and that's just going to get more people out voting for Sarah Gideon. We'll just kind of keep going, and it's actually a really good article. We kind of saw this one coming too, didn't we? Teresa Greenfield is just smoking Joni Ernst.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, it's 47-43 right now. So you're looking at a 4-point swing, and the margin of error being 3 to 4%. It's tight, but it's one of those things where you just kind of get a feeling that this thing's going.
I don't know if it was on that. Do you realize both Republican senators in Georgia have a good chance of being gone? Not one. Yeah. Both of them.
Both of them. Again, you kind of see some of the takeaway. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, right?
We knew Mark Kelly's over 50%.
Yeah, so he's in. It was kind of the argument that I was making kind of over the weekend, right? That 50% mark is it's ridiculous. Okay, it's the event horizon. It's the point of no return. What is interesting, and I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but the the pollsters are both A+ rated pollsters. Well, it's Monmouth both times, but come on, yeah, these guys don't play around. Tom Tillis is about to lose his shirt
Well, Cal Cunningham over 50%.
again, right? So again, it's that magic 50% mark. Folks, I don't know if you believe polls or not, but here's what I'm going to tell you: if you see somebody polling at 50% or better, it would take an act of God or a whole lot of scheming going on in order for them to lose. Now, again, we're still about 3 weeks out, but you understand what I'm saying. Okay, and there's some more of the metadata that will go along with it. Kelly Loeffler's at 44%. Raphael Warnock's at 52% in the Georgia special election. That's Reverend Raphael Warnock again at that magic 50% mark, right? Can't wait to see him win. I'll be honest, and it might sound racist as fuck, but I don't care. I'd really like to see a black guy win Georgia, right? I really would. Georgia Senate race, here we go again. Democrat John Ossoff leading Republican David Perdue. And there we go again, Lou.
51.
There we go again. Okay, he's a young guy, too. I don't know if you ever heard him or seen anything about him. Reminds me a little bit of Beto.
You know what? Wasn't Ossoff, didn't he take Newt Gingrich's district in the House, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he did.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So those are the six that the Daily Cost kind of pointed out. Don't forget, let me go all the way back. Democrats need 4.
And they didn't even mention Cory Gardner, did they?
They didn't mention Cory Gardner. They didn't mention what's his name? Who's is it Hoffman? Who the hell's at least neck and neck with Miss Lindsay right now? Is it Hoffman?
Jamie Harrison.
Oh, Harrison. Yeah, I'm sorry, Harrison. Well,
and the guy in Mississippi's within striking distance.
Oh yeah, forget it. I screwed up Harrison. Don't expect me to get somebody from Mississippi.
Yeah, that one is surprising people too. And I'll tell you what, that thing you posted today makes me wonder if it's real. But boy, if all those people turn out in the middle of the cities in Texas, you're going to get your prediction.
I was really high on my prediction. I really felt good about it until one of our viewers who lives in Texas kind of squashed that a little bit. So the enthusiasm's there, just the bodies isn't, basically, is what he said. I'm still holding out faith, though. I still think Texas goes. I might be an election cycle too early, but I'm not going to backtrack. I'm gonna hold my feet to the fire and say, yeah, it still goes.
Do you realize if on election night itself, if Pennsylvania is hung up in the count and Georgia goes blue and Iowa goes blue, Pennsylvania don't mean a damn thing.
You have no idea how much I want our state to be meaningless. You know, with all this shit that we see going on here, and especially in Harrisburg, I just want this state's electoral college votes or numbers to just be meaningless. It wouldn't matter who takes them. Just so, we don't have that drama around here. I'd love to see Ohio go Biden, because then of course then we're meaningless then too.
Right.
And there's a real good chance of that happening. And I'll be honest, I don't think who the hell's their governor? DeWine. I don't think he did Trump any favors.
No, probably not.
I really don't, because he's been about as centrist as can be. I mean, you could tell whenever he was leaning right with things, but generally speaking, especially through the whole COVID thing, he really didn't play a whole lot of games.
Well, no, he did what was right for the people of Ohio, whether they hated him or not.
Yeah, kind of like Wolf did, although I don't think he got nearly the backlash that Wolf got. We have a lot of loudmouth Republicans around here. Uh, Biden's not out of the woods. I don't know if you saw the New York Times piece that was posted to our group. It's actually a pretty good article, to be honest, and the headline is a little misleading. Okay, but basically what it's saying is unanticipated electoral developments are affecting both presidential campaigns in surprising ways. This thing kind of has me a little perplexed, Lou, and I'll tell you why. Like I said, I don't know if you read this or not.
No, I didn't have a chance.
You know what? I'm not so sure if you want to or not. But David Wasserman, House Senator for the Cook Political Report, which is actually a really good report, right? I don't know if people follow it or not or even looked at it, but it's really good. And I think this is something that we had thrown around in the channel over the weekend about Republicans swamping Democrats and adding new voters to the rolls. A dramatic GOP improvement over 2016. That sounds really intimidating, right? But Lou, one thing you and I have in common is we actually trust math. Okay. So let's look at Florida. Since the March primary, Florida added about 100,000 more Republicans than Democrats. If you break that, and I know if's a big word, but if you break that into how many voting districts or how many counties, 100,000 people is not a whole hell of a lot. Okay? We're looking at, in PA, somewhere around 80,000 Republicans over Democrats. Break that up per county. How many is that?
You know what? They were talking about that this morning on Morning Joe early. And they said where they did the research and got those are actually Trump supporters, younger people out in the middle of nowhere in these states that never voted before and signing them up.
Okay.
And they said, actually, the way the swings were, they just kind of mentioned the same thing you did. 80,000 in Pennsylvania on a razor-thin margin the last time that won't go that way as thin this time is nothing. And they said all those people that signed up, did they sign up for show and won't vote anyhow?
Another problem that I'm having with this article, okay, is the way it's written. And before you read into it, just kind of follow the cursor a little bit, right? The Pew survey showed modestly weakened support among black women for Biden's, right? A key demographic constituency. And I want to just leave it there. I don't want you to read any further than that. That sounds scary as fuck, right? Let's read the rest of it. Black women supported Clinton over Trump 98-1. This year they support Biden over Trump 91-6. Okay? Lou, here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's my question for you. Let's say, just for shits and giggles, that 4 years ago I handed you a lottery ticket and I said, Lou, you got a 98-1 chance of this lottery ticket hitting for you for $1 million. You're going to be pretty happy about that, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Let's say 4 years later, I come back to you and I say, Lou, remember 4 years ago when I gave you that lottery ticket and you had a 98-1 chance of winning? Well, here's another one, but it's 91-6. You going to turn me down?
You know what? And they had the breakdown of that this morning here. Let me tell you about those 80,000 votes in PA and 100,000 in Florida. There is a huge swing among seniors from +9 Trump to about, +8 Biden?
Sounds about right.
The black vote is actually 95-5 right now in polling across most of the states. Latino. What do you think the Latino rate is in favor of Biden to Trump? Now,
I
Bush.
don't think it's as high as the black rate, but I'd say it's pretty high.
Don't forget the Latino vote went 42% for W.
Right.
Of course, he supported a lot of their things, so I could see that.
Yeah.
He wanted them all legalized. It is actually 74-26.
Okay.
Another big demographic is suburban women that were 51% for Trump, don't forget, in 2016, 34% right now. And he actually has lost a little bit among the white male, uneducated white male.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, not a lot, but he still lost it. He's still up like, I don't know, 54, 45 or something.
Do you happen to remember what his average margin of victory was in just the three big Rust Belt states, Michigan, Ohio, and PA?
It was 80,000 total.
80,000 total, right?
In 3 states.
In 3 states. So if we do some really quick math, we're looking at about 26,000 votes per state.
Actually, it was about, what was it? 60,000. Was it 60,000 Pennsylvania? Because that's the biggest.
Okay.
I'm going to say 18,000 Michigan, 12,000 Wisconsin.
Okay. All right. It's broken down to whatever you want. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's say he loses 1%. 1% of the white uneducated male vote, knowing what his slim margins of victory were to begin with. He loses at least one of those states at 1%.
And don't forget, just to point out, 70,000 votes in Pennsylvania that he won by was not even 1%. It was 0.7% of votes cast.
0.7%. Well, 0.07. No, 0.7.
0.7.
Here is the one thing that this article does do that kind of bothers me and caught my attention. Democrats basically are voting by mail far more than Republicans are, 2.4 to 1. Okay. You're seeing two. I saw at least 2 states where we're looking at 6 or 8 hour or even 10-hour waits in line to vote early.
Mm-hmm.
Most people who are registered Democrat basically work 9 to 5 jobs and have to punch a clock. That's not a good sign. Well, it's a potential really bad sign. Doesn't mean that they're not willing to do it and lose a day's pay in order to do it. Because you got me pissed off enough, I'm more than happy to lose a day's pay. That has me a bit concerned because you're looking at 1.4 to 1, okay, or 1.4%. The ratio. The Democrats are 1.4 more likely to cast their ballots by mail. However, Democratic requests for absentee ballots have not reached the levels that the survey suggests will be needed for the party to cast votes at full strength on Election Day. In presidential battleground states, which we are one, Democrats' share of absentee and early vote ballot requests through October 13th, good day, it's the day my brother was born, according to Catalyst, was 57.4%. And in Senate battleground states, 55.2%. Okay, so a bit of an upswing Again, it's that magical 50% number that we keep talking about. Uh, how much of an impact do you think that these places that are restricting voting, only putting one, box, only, you saw how many places in on Twitter where people were standing in line for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 hours. Uh, how big of a deterrent do you think that is for people, or do you think they're just engaged and fired up enough that they don't give a shit if it takes 24 hours? They're going to vote.
I think a lot of them are just, they don't care. They're going out there and they're trying to force issues. Because I actually heard in Georgia, some of those precincts, some of the people in some of those precincts went and got machines from other precincts to take care of the overflow.
Well, here's another question that I have, and again, no one's been able to answer that. Let's say that you go, let's say you're in Ohio or Texas or wherever it is, and you have early voting, and so you go and you get in line, and at some point somebody lets you know that you have a 6-hour wait. Okay, and I just made up 6 hours. Let's say it's 8 hours or 10. It doesn't really matter. You have 6 hours. About 4 hours into it, either you had enough or you had to go. You spent too much time there. Life happens, so you got to get out. You got to bail in line. You got to go take care of whatever life's throwing at you. Maybe you go back the next day. Maybe you go back a couple of days. Let's face it, you still have 20 days to do this. Just because there's that long line on the first day or second day, or even go into the 5th or 10th or 12th day, you still have up until election day to cast that ballot. You don't get that one day and that's it. You have until you actually put that ballot in that box. Restricting everything you want early seems to me it's more of a way to slow things down than it is to actually get people over a course of 20 days to not vote. Or
yeah, you still are 20 days out, that's for sure.
Right? So you're going to take a Sunday afternoon and, instead of taking your Sunday drive and enjoying the fresh air, you're just going to go stand in line and vote? Right? Why not? Why not? Stand in line, have your husband or wife, go run out to the store, grab some snacks, start mingling with some people, after a couple hours. Well, it's your turn to go get some snacks or to go to the bathroom while somebody saves your spot in line or whatever it is.
You know what?
I'd make a social event out of it. God knows we need it.
I'd have a little stool to carry with me while I was waiting.
Right? Yeah. I bring a wheelchair with me.
And a catheter.
Keep up for a little bit, just sit there. No, I'm fine. I just need a place to sit. We are a people who don't like being told they can't do something, and I don't think people are putting enough stock in that. We don't like to be told we're not allowed, or we can't do things.
I know I am.
I live by that. God knows I live by it. I'm told I can't do something, I'm going to do it twice and take pictures. And what I can, to hold on to that story or that ideal, we saw what was supposed to be an October surprise yesterday, right? Which kind of went over like the proverbial fart in church. I love having little anecdotes like that, right? And I always do in church, right? Whenever like a fart in church, sweating like a whore in church, it's just we're Catholic, that's how we do things. Trump was a little upset that his potential October surprise shit the bed, apparently. Again, something we had talked about in our Discord group a lot. I think for the most part, you have a whole shit ton of people who realize that Rudy's full of shit. Number one, and Frank brought up a good point. I think it was probably earlier today. I think that, and I can't believe being the geek that I am and everything that it didn't register with me. But most people don't take their laptops in for repair. They just pretty much throw them away now. And even if you did, you mean to tell me that this guy who owns this computer repair shop spent his time going through all of this data and all this information because he had nothing else to do? And why the hell don't we know who this guy is yet? Because if somebody gets a hold of a Biden anything or a Trump anything or a Harris anything or a Pence anything, they can't go take a piss without people all over the planet knowing their name and who the hell they are. This kind of smells a little, you know? I mean, I'm not saying it's a duck, but whenever it walks and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a crock. I mean, you know what? This is what happens when you have people that think they're spies that actually don't have a clue of how things work in the technical world get exposed real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the old days, you know, when they talk about forging and kiting checks and things like that. You know, when's the last time you heard of somebody kiting a check because of the way banks operate now?
I don't know too many people even actually use checks anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you actually think that he would have been stupid enough to take it to a repair shop that wasn't secure, or he would have had somebody, there would have been an IT guy in the business he worked that would have fixed it. It would have never left the building.
Let's just assume for a fact that we're going to ignore everything else and every type of job that this guy has had where security is a premium. You are the son of the former vice president of the United States. Do you think that you can just walk into a computer repair shop and everybody around you is going to say, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You have nothing to worry about. Do you really think that that's even possible? No. No, you had me look at your laptop a few months back, right? And even a few months ago, even in us in this little fucking Mayberry, even you thought, you know what, maybe I'll just get rid of this and get another one.
Right, you're right.
Never even considered taking it anywhere to get fixed.
And what would you have done? I would have put everything on a flash drive that was worth anything.
Right. And I'd have shook my head and said, Lou, put it up on a OneDrive or a Google Drive. Don't even put it
Google Drive, whatever, and that would have been it.
That'd have been it.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. You would have pulled the hard. Yeah, I mean, for him, wouldn't you have pulled the hard drive out and you would have had everything in the cloud and got it all onto a new laptop?
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way in hell anybody. I mean, he's how old is he anyhow?
He would be
roughly.
I'd say he's your age.
I'd say he's about my age, right?
I'd say about your age.
Yeah. Now, trust me when I tell you, even you know, in our 50s, we know better. Right? Even in our even like I said, even me, who, you know, what do I do? There's no way in hell I would take a laptop to a repair shop. Right? I'm either swapping out the hard drive myself, or I'm just killing the damn thing and buying a new one. That's it. Right? And whenever you look at me and say, "What do I do with this?" What I tell you, burn it. Right? Just get rid of the damn thing. It's not worth the time to fix it. It's not worth the money to fix it. You can buy a new one.
I had an old, matter of fact, I think I had an old desktop I got rid of when I got the dumpster for the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
I pulled the hard drive out of it, and I think it's sitting in a drawer here, and I threw that away.
Oh, there you go. If you want, I can get you an external case for it to plug it into a USB drive or a USB port, and you can just take everything you want off of it and then throw that away.
I might. I got to find out where I put it. You know what? With this mess around here, I know I pulled it and put it somewhere. It's either in a box or a drawer.
Well, if you ever find it, let me know. I'll send you a link for a good
Yeah.
external case. And
Yeah, but so what? I got rid of it. I'll take the hard drive, and you know
the only
why?
thing
Because there was old like TurboTax and stuff on it.
that you never know if you may need.
Well, that or just so nobody else gets the socials off of it or something.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah. I wouldn't. Like I said, you just throw the fucker away. That's all.
Mhm.
Laptops are. You can get a laptop for $300. All right, it's a Chromebook, but you can get a laptop that's going to do everything that the people watching us are doing for the most part. It works just fine. It'll last you 5, 6, 7 years. It probably has a 250 gig hard drive in it, which is hardly anything. It's room for like 3 pictures and a video of a cat video. Everything else is cloud based. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Speaking of stupid, two more things I want to touch base with you tonight before we call it. I don't know if you saw this or not. I really didn't know what to make of it. But I'll show you anyhow. Murdoch predicts a landslide win for Biden. This would be the same Rupert Murdoch of Fox Entertainment fame, right? Disgusted by Trump's handling of COVID-19, remarking that the president is his own worst enemy and telling associates, people get ready for Sleepy Joe.
You know what? You think about every chance Murdoch's given him on every show, and Trump has missed a softball.
Every single time.
And, think about some of the chances they've given him, and you talk about a swing and a miss or not even having a clue.
Yep. I've never seen one network, entertainment or not, more than willing to sell their souls to make you look good in my life, and he keeps missing the pitch. Every single time. They could put it up on a tee and he would strike out.
Well, you think about it, even like them idiots on Fox and Friends. Did you really mean to say that, President Trump? Trying to get him to retract stuff he's already said.
Right, even those 3 morons know, right?
Yeah.
And they're about as clueless as. Well, they actually be more clueless than him, and then even they're calling him out, saying, "You sure you mean that?"
Oh man.
One more thing before we go. We have this dueling town halls tonight. I think I made it pretty obvious. Well, Frank and I both did last night on the show, and I think I made it very obvious in the Discord group what I think about NBC right now and what they're doing. What's your opinion?
Well, what did I call the other day is don't forget that's the guy, the Condi, who was trying to get MSNBC to go more to the right, but Rachel and Nicole ruined his plans.
Too popular.
Yeah, because of them, and too popular, and them being able to get guests on that just, go all out. I mean, you think about it. Who's on with some of them all the time, too? Gee, Steve Schmidt, Michael Steele, some of these other guys that call Trump for what he is, Former Republican national chair, calling straight out, Trump's an idiot. Okay? But there's your difference between a conservative, conservative, traditional Republican and the ones that are there now.
Yeah, so's Wallace, right? I mean, she ran. She was Bush's. What do you call it? Not camp. She worked on the campaign, but she was his
press secretary, wasn't she?
Press secretary. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she was behind the podium or not, but she was calling the shots.
Yes, she was. And didn't she help in the McCain campaign?
Yeah. Yeah, her and Schmidt. That's how she met Steve Schmidt, I think. Well,
She,
she probably met him through God knows what, but she worked with him on his campaign.
right.
Yeah. So, and no one at 9 o'clock, the 9 to 10 spot, can touch Maddow in the ratings, and I know it's killing Fox Entertainment that they can't beat her.
Well, the ratings she always consistently has. She may not have the total, but she has, what is it, the 25 to 44s?
Yeah.
That's the money group.
That's the money group. The one thing Fox Entertainment has is they have the voting group. Right? Because they have what do old people do? There's two things old people do. Like, as sure as there's, the sun's going to rise tomorrow, two things old people do. They go to church and they vote. And Fox Entertainment has them. That's the one niche. That's the one thing at that time slot that they have that MSNBC and CNN can't touch. And they know it. Because look at the idiots they put on there during that time. Right? It's guaranteed ratings for them. You could have a dog doing nothing but sitting there farting, and as long as there's a Fox Entertainment graphic in the bottom corner, they're going to draw eyeballs. I told Frank yesterday during the pod that, or maybe I said it during in our group, that this is something that NBC is doing. This is something that I would have expected CNN to do, considering they're last in the ratings and they're looking for a boost. But to see NBC do this, did you hear Maddow? She was a little pissed off last night when she had Kamala Harris on last night.
Yeah, she did.
And apparently she was a little pissed, and she asked Harris to comment on NBC having the Trump thing tonight, and Harris just kind of smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm not even touching that." So I think even Maddow's a little pissed off about this.
Yeah, they because I know I saw a little clip of that, and they talked about the fly.
Yeah.
And then she asked Kamala about that. Yeah. And she's I'm not going there. Yeah.
That entire interview, by the way, is up on YouTube. If you guys wanted to go look at it, it's a really good interview. Harris has definitely stepped her game up in the last couple of months. She was good to begin with, and she stepped it up even more. She's not nearly the prosecutor she was even 2 months ago. It's gonna be a good combination. What do you think, Lou? I ran out of topics.
Well, you know what? I guess I'm trying to think of anything else. Wow, there's always something going on. But do you think that Rudy and company will try? I don't see what other October surprise they might have. I think it was a stretch on Hunter Biden, and I mean, truthfully, they keep whining, well, Biden's been there 47 years, and it's like, and to finish the statement they want to say is, we can't find a fucking thing on him.
That's the problem.
I mean, truthfully.
That's right. The one advantage you have to be in there.
He doesn't play in the stock market. He doesn't take the money that illegally. I mean, oh yeah, he made a gaffe. Every one of us makes a gaffe.
Well, you know what? Even whenever he was the vice president, the blow-off was, well, that's just Joe.
Yeah, like, yeah, okay.
That was 16 years ago. Even then, it's just like, well, yeah, it's Joe.
Yeah, you could say he says a gaffe or this and that, but my God, he still speaks 10 times as coherent as Trump.
Well, you can't even understand that guy sometimes. You plan on watching either of them tonight?
I will not watch Trump because you know how that's going to blow up into a shit show. What time's the Biden one start? 8?
I think they're both at the same time, aren't they?
I think there's a half-hour overlap difference from what I heard. Because I also just saw where NBC wanted ABC to back off a half hour, and they said, bite me, we were first.
Well, let me see. I'm calling up the times right now. Biden is on ABC from 8 to 9:30.
I think Trump's 9 to 10 or 8:30 to 10. Is that what it says?
Trump starts at 8 and is an hour. So
No.
they're both starting at 8. Trump's only going for an hour because he probably can't breathe much after that.
Okay. So
and Biden's going for an hour and a half.
Then.
Yeah. Biden, there's that half-hour overlap, though. Biden's going half an hour longer.
Okay.
So there you go.
And who do they handpick for the town hall for Trump?
Oh, who the hell knows?
Probably two of your neighbors.
Oh, dude! I mean, you could close your eyes and throw a dart, and these folks would be more than willing to jump on the whole damn thing. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never seen a cult like this in my entire life, and I thought Jonestown was bad.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, in your days, have you ever seen? I don't care, a president from either party. I mean, Obama had strong support. W had decent support. So did Reagan. But I mean, there was no. My God, flags on trucks and every other bullshit that's out there.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, that might be the biggest reason why I want this shithead to lose. It really might be. It's just to tell all these people to go fuck themselves. Your boy lost. That's too bad. It's the vindictiveness in me. What can I tell you, Lou?
Oh, I'll be smiling too.
I will, yeah. Especially out here, right? Especially out here. With all these idiots up and down my street. Well, up and down yours too. I told you how depressing it was just driving from my house to your house last week.
Here,
this is terrible.
Let me give you a quick story on the way out. My buddy that's a contractor, and I know you've seen this sign right at the intersection of 551 and 317 in Mount Jackson. There's a big Trump sign and Lynn Ryan sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if you know who owns those signs, that property.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the young son. He's
the shithead, because everybody likes the old man.
Yeah, so my buddy's talking to him, and of course, you know, he's older, so he likes to bust his balls. He says to him, "Aren't you embarrassed to have those two signs on your property in the front yard?" So, of course, they're arguing about everything, and he said, "Well, didn't you have a good year last year?" He says, "Yeah, I did. I'm not complaining about that. But how do you vote for somebody that's that embarrassing to the country?" They're going back and forth. So finally, the young guy said, "Now listen to this quote. This kid's an engineer. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Owns the business." He says, "You know what? I should probably register to vote."
You're kidding.
No. And my buddy started busting up. He says, "Good. Don't register." He says, "At least I could cancel somebody else's vote instead of yours."
That's family. He didn't vote, or he didn't register.
How many people do you think may be doing that?
Oh my God!
Think about that. It's a college-educated business owner. It's an engineer.
Yeah. That's shocking. I would have thought. And like I said, I
guess he'd be Generation Z too.
Yeah. I like his old man. His old man helped me out a lot whenever I was starting out, believe it or not.
You know, and I know farmers tend to go Republican. I do know that.
Yeah.
It's ingrained, but I mean.
Wow. That, folks, if you guys knew, well, unless you're from around here, you don't know. But wow. That's. I can go to bed now. Nothing I see or hear the rest of the day is going to kick me in the ass like that.
I had to throw that at you. I keep forgetting about that because this happened 2-3 weeks ago.
I guess that's why signs don't vote, right? Wow.
I mean,
Wow. That is. I would have been less shocked if he'd have told me that he registered as a Democrat.
yeah, you're right.
That would have been less shocking. Then maybe I should register. Holy shit. Well, you know what? Just goes to prove, man. You never figure people out.
No.
That's
And I mean, you don't have to go to the courthouse like the old days. You could
do it online.
do it. You can do it on your phone.
Yeah, you can do it online. You know, you can do it whenever you get your new driver's license, when you get it renewed. You can do it whenever you get your plates renewed. You can do it when your registration renews.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to
ridiculous.
vote? Yes.
Yeah, no one can ever say that they never had the opportunity to register. You literally cannot live in this state without somebody throwing that in your face.
Yeah, it was, I think the last time it was like, you an organ donor? Yes. You registered to vote? Yes. Okay.
All right, take your picture.
Take the picture. Mugshot.
I know, I did the same thing. Unbelievable. Well, Lou,
I knew that one would get you.
that's staggering. That really is. That is staggering. Wow. Well, all right, folks. Thank you very much for joining us on Twitter, on YouTube, and yeah, we actually had a couple comments from YouTube, from Facebook. Thank you all very much. We will be back tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, to recap the week. Talk about well, let's face it, we're probably going to talk about Biden's downfall because I don't think any of us are going to watch Shithead. And Lou, if we remember, let's kind of update our prediction, our forecast, the election map that we have.
No, okay.
Hopefully, one of us remember. I've been throwing it back and forth between me and Frank for 2 weeks. Every Friday, we forget about it.
Yeah, I forget too.
Yeah.
Here, did I write a note?
I don't know. We count on you. I mean, you are the older guy between the three of us. We're counting on you to remember.
Well, I can remember shit, but honest to God,
you have an engineer and an attorney that can't remember a damn thing.
You think about it. We have an overload of information right now. You don't have to have a high IQ. You have to have one of those photographic memories.
Yeah, but you got to understand. You just floored me. It's going to take me a couple of days to recover from this one.
Here, I'll write a note and I'll probably bury it tomorrow when I'm doing quotes and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'll find that at the same time you find your hard drive.
Probably.
Okay, folks, like we said, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate your comments and your interaction. We hope you come back tomorrow to just kind of hang out with us and please join us. Please have a good time with us. We're really looking forward to hearing everybody's opinions, especially if you're going to watch the show that's going to be those 2 town halls tonight. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. So until then, for everybody, goodbye, good luck, and God bless. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.